Hello, all. So we are on day 2 of the colorectal cancer data. I left the ARPubs a link in the chat as well as in the details, so you can follow along. We realize the colorectal cancer data that we're using is small, and there aren't that many genes, and it appears to be transcript RNA. Actually, we have to review that again. So, finishing off the Wicked Grove first beer. I just worked on my car earlier. I could not install that piece. It is crazy how they get it on. You have to literally manhandle all that stuff. And I tried taking that stuff off. If you unscrew it, those things are like, they're not coming off. The whole tire hub thing. I'm going to share my screen now. And then this is the ARPubs document, and basically what we did was we just found out what it was about. There's fragments per kilomillion, transcripts per million, and read counts. We got the gene ID, gene card ID, and the gene symbol. We kept the gene symbol. This is what we did last night. And see, these don't tell us anything. I don't really use those anyways. So this is good. So we went with the data with 1,600 genes. The other one was only 47 transcription factors, which we can't really use that well. I mean, let's just all figure out how to do something while we're drinking beer for the first time. Not the beer, but like doing something new while drinking it. So this is basically where we are. We just spent an hour doing that yesterday. Fragments per kilomillion. I don't usually use that. Transcripts per million. I don't really use that either. What I do use is usually the read count. I use the counts. I always use the counts. And that's per gene. They normalize this data already because if it was counts, straight counts, it would have been whole integers, which means no decimal part right there. All right, or just integers, which are whole numbers. All right, so that's it. We're gonna go ahead and open up that from our files. That was just our ARPubs document. You can download that and follow along. And then the actual file we're working on is this one. Yeah. So it saved it as an RHTML. I guess I thought it would be like an R markdown, but I guess that is how it saves it. I also am on the second day of my tooth with the bone graft. It was a root canal tooth. I thought they removed my jawbone, but really what it was the cement. But some of my jawbone particles probably did leave it. And when they put the bone in it, she used some kind of other cement with the bone material. Because when I looked at it, it was like a little like eyebrow type round dish, and in it was the little particles of bone. So they said that they clean it out real good, which is great because I would hate to think they use it straight out of a dead person, like without any kind of treatment. All right, so this is where we left off. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the little asterisks, and then this is part 2. We're going to explore this data. So we'll go ahead, save this, and run all chunks. We'll just run all. Yeah, I'm greasy because I spent 4 hours trying to do that earlier, and it was a mess with the car part. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and remove these old objects that we don't have anymore. And this is what we're working with The gene symbol, there's 16,122 genes. Great. And then here are, so we got fragments per kilometer for the PL1, 2, 3, and then the SH1, 2, 3. Let's just go into, we're not going to use the fragments per kilometer. I don't ever use those. Read count one, the P, those are like the controls, and then these are the treatment, what they're trying to prove, based on the information that they provided with these samples is ARCA mediated 7 dehydrocholesterol biosynthesis drives ferroptosis evasion and chemo resistance and colon cancer. So chemo resistance remains a major obstacle to a effective colorectal cancer treatment. While ferroptosis induction offers promise for chemosensitization, its clinical utility is limited by intrinsic resistance mechanisms. Here we identify aurora kinase A as essential ferroptosis suppressor that sustains chemo resistance by rewiring cholesterol metabolism through the axis. Mechanistically, ARCA phosphorylates that axis at SER 523 /524, promoting its degradation and relieving AMPK suppression. Activated AMPK. Did they say what AMPK is? I guess they're giving it this name right here. So, all right. Activated AMPK subsequently inhibits SREBP2. I guess this is AMPK right there. Let's go ahead and put our highlighter on. So we have AMPK, SREBP2, we have SAPS3. This is an axis. And aurora kinase is ARCA. Colorectal cancer is CRC. So ARCA phosphorylates SAPS3, SCR 523, 524. Promotes its degradation and relieving AMPK suppression. Activated AMPK subsequently inhibits SREBP2. Nuclear translocation. That's whenever part of the sequence kind of just has like a hernia, and then one of the sequences, it goes offline and it goes to a different area. So it's similar to a single nucleotide polymorphism, but a translocation can make the whole gene sequence off or not producible. DHCR7 transcription resulting in the accumulation of 7-dehydrocholesterol, a lipid antioxidant that confers ferroptosis resistance. Both genetic and pharmacologic inhibition of ARCA restore ferroptosis sensitivity and enhance chemotherapy efficacy. So basically, genetic and pharmacology inhibit the ARCA. If they inhibit this ARCA, aurora kinase A, ferroptosis sensitivity will be found again, and it will enhance the effects of chemotherapy in a good way. That's what they've seen in the cultures in vitro and in patient-derived xenograft models. Xenograft models are, when they say this, I looked it up earlier in another project. It is basically they're using mice, and mice have been immunosuppressed, and so they take the tumor cell from a human patient and they put it on the mouse, and they let the tumor cell grow like it would, and then they see what it grows into, and that's a xenograft, similar to in vitro, but it's on a live mammal. Clinically, elevated ARCA expression, but don't worry, the mouse has to be immune suppressed. They make the mouse immune suppressed for that to happen. Clinically, elevated ARCA expression correlates with poor prognosis and reduced chemotherapy response in colorectal cancer patients. Okay, so if there's elevated ARCA expression, it's a poor prognosis for chemo in colorectal patients. So ARCA is bad. So we're just going to go ahead and type that. AURKA is bad for CR, colorectal cancer treatment. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the highlighter. It's a poor prognosis and reduced chemotherapy response in colorectal cancer patients. These findings define a novel ARCA-driven chemoresistance mechanism, revealing a regulatory nexus between cholesterol homeostasis and ferroptosis evasion, and position ARCA as a promising therapeutic target for chemosensitization in colorectal cancer. Okay, so cholesterol metabolism, that is something we need for our androgens, testosterone, estrogen, also our adrenal glands for our fat membranes. We need cholesterol because when you have triacylglycerides, when you break down fat, it makes cholesterol. We need cholesterol for our biolipid layers, our biolipid cell membrane, which is 2 layers of cholesterol fats. They're also called lipids. Cholesterol, lipids, fats. We also need it for the adrenal glands that make the corticosteroids. So that is something that helps us with pain and inflammation. So if you don't have enough cholesterol, you could be bursting cells everywhere. Bruising, you could also be deficient osteoporotic because of the estrogen and hormones you need. You wouldn't have much energy because of the adrenal effects of needing the fats, because you have the minerals, steroids, corticosteroids, glucocorticosteroids. The arachidonic acid for inflammation is a natural process, and that is something we have to go through, and it is driven by basically cholesterol. You need that to go through inflammation and heal and to prevent infection from taking over. So it's just a process you have to go through. And what it's saying here is that there's an axis that cholesterol metabolism for that inflammatory process that's needed is basically part of their immune system is basically breaking down. And so they're probably going through cachexia, which is like starvation, and all their fats in their body are getting eaten up. I'm not sure, but we'll just assume this. Whatever they're saying, but you can just make some assumptions based on what you know already. Okay, overall design, colorectal cancer, cell, SW480, stably expressing. SH, ARCA, or control, shRNA. Were harvested for RNA preparation. Total RNA extracted using, this is how they're processed, trisyl reagent and sequence on the, okay, this is a new machine, MGISEQ 2000 platform. There were 2 experimental groups, the shRNA, they call that the control, with 3 replicates for each. There were 2 experimental groups with 3 replicates for each. Okay, we'll have to find out what that is, and we're going to have to go into this. GSE 302491, we'll just look that up because we need more information. GSV 302 491. This is a new study. It hasn't been published yet. We're going to go into each sample, the GSM samples. This is a cell type colon cancer cells, genotype wild type. So it's a wild type. And it is RNA. We're going to go back. This should be wild type as well. Colon cancer cells, wild type. This is the cell line. It sounds like it's a commercial cell line. I think that's what they said in the reading. Another wild type colon cancer cells. Now we'll see what the other one is. SH1 colon cancer cells, and this one is the ARCA knockdown. They're proving that if they take out ARCA, in vitro will have more ferroptosis effects, showing that cholesterol metabolism is good and chemotherapy is working in colorectal cancer. So we will have to see basically what genes they're comparing. We'll see what our top gene expression is. We can also we'll just do that because that's how we do things. These are not the wild type, but these are the ARCA knockdown. That's that. It's the bad for chemotherapy effectiveness in colorectal cancer. Since these are all colon cancer cells, we don't have a healthy comparison. So we're going to have to go compare it to colon cancer cells versus colon cancer cells when they use something to knock out ARCA, which is usually a microRNA. They have a way of knocking it out, because what happens is they know what makes ARCA and they know where gene it is. So when they want to knock it out, they use the microRNA. And the microRNA is basically a single strand, but it curves on itself to prevent it from, and they call it a hairpin curl, like a bobby pin, because then it becomes double-stranded and it can't be used. It cannot be used. It won't be made, and that's how they knock out the ARCA. So to do that, microRNA, it is usually the pre-messenger RNA. It's usually the pre-messenger RNA, and they use other stuff. I'm not exactly sure chemical ways, but I just know how they use it. And that's how they knock it out. And that's part of the reason gene expression works, because if they can knock out those genes when they find out what is causing a pathology, what needs to be replaced, they test it out, play with it to see, what happens when they do this. Oh, well, that's good because it's making chemotherapy effective in colon cancer, colorectal cancer. Great. And then let's see if they have the genes also that we are looking for related to Epstein-Barr virus in the nasopharyngeal tract, which is going to be we looked at the GSM sample information. The PL1 through PL3 samples are colon cancer commercial cell line samples as repeats. And then they take that same commercial line and they use some method, probably microRNA, to knock out the AURKA gene that they say is making colon cancer patients unable to experience beneficial treatment from chemotherapy, as they say. It is making an axis of, what was this axis? Let's see. They called it the SAPS3 AMPK SREBP2 axis. Okay. Yeah, and it's doing something with phoroptosis. Okay. So it is SAPS3 hyphen AURKA hyphen. Oh, it's actually AMPK. Oops. AMPK hyphen SREBP2. SREBP2 axis that is affecting cholesterol metabolism and making, what did they say about phoroptosis? While ferroptosin induction offers promise for chemosensitization, its clinical utility is limited by intrinsic resistance mechanisms. Ferroptosis induction promise for chemosensitization. Chemoresistance, ferroptosis. Okay. So that is new to me. I haven't heard this in any of my studies. We're just going to look that up. Iron-dependent regulated form of cell death characterized by lipid peroxidation. Oh, yeah, actually we did go over this in human biochemistry, but I didn't really, we didn't really go into that too much. It was mostly gluconeogenesis. Cell death characterized by lipid peroxidation and redox imbalance, distinct from apoptosis and necrosis. Okay. So it's an iron-based oxygen limit reduce programmed cell death dependent on iron. Okay. Ferroptosis, which is a form of lipid metabolism that is dependent on iron to program cell death. We don't need to be exact. It's basically just cell death and iron. Yeah, ferritin, ferrous, ferric, iron. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so they are saying that the removal of AURKA will improve the chemotherapy effects in colon cancer patients. So we are going to use the read count to get the group average and the, although since we do have those ones, I guess we could just use all of them and see what we find. And the fold change values will be the wild type or WT type samples as the control, which are colorectal cancer cells, and the AURKA knockdown samples of same cancer cells as pathology divided by control or baseline. In control or baseline. Okay. And then we will use the read counts, but we could also use the fragments per kilo, million, or FPKO, and the transcripts per million or TPM. All right, so this should be pretty easy. And so we could just compare it, and then we'll get our top genes. And we should just search right away to see if we see the ARCA ones. We can search to see if the AURKA gene is in this data, as well as a few previous studies that said LMP1 and LMP2 related to Epstein-Barr virus, cancer of nasopharynx, and stomach. And also the CD247, and then or PDL1 and PDL2 of CD274, and the other one was like a PDCD1LG2. I'm gonna put a question mark right there. Something like that. For Epstein-Barr virus and few lymphomas. So let's go ahead and just look at that first. So we have the gene names. So we're just going to see if data by one. Let's see AURKA. Data one by gene symbol. Let's see if that's in there. Oh, it does have it. Great. So we'll go ahead and we will look at that. Oh, wonderful. Something's there. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and see, did we have the, we ran all chunks and we had page table. We had the R marked down earlier, so we'll go ahead and use the page table, AURKA. It's only 2 entries. So, there's a AURKA IP1, and then we have the values. So they knock this out in the SH sample. So in the counts, it should, in all of them, it should be lower in the SH. Yes, it is. Than the PL samples. And then the transcripts per million, the same. It is lower than the PL sample. So they can't eliminate it completely, but it's definitely lower in these samples, much lower. Yeah. So it does appear, we'll go and note that the SH1 through SH3 samples do have lower expression levels of AuRKA gene compared to their baseline PL1 to PL3 samples of same type of FPKM, TPM, and read count. Now let's see if the EBV genes are here in this data. Okay. Grep LMP1. Missing. That one's there. Nothing. And then we'll go ahead and look at the other ones. Let's see. CD274 and PDCV1LG2. Let's see. Oh, we got something. We do have the CD274 and PDCD1LG2. All right, cool. So nothing. Oh, this one. Okay, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and PDL1, DL1, table, PDL1. This one's going to be PDL2, DL1, and page table PDL2. So we'll go ahead and look at that. Okie dokie, CD274. All right, so okay, so one's higher, one's lower in the fragments per kilomillion. So okay, and the transcripts per million, it's varies 0.56 to 0.80. And then in the knockout of ARCA, it's about the same in that sample, and then the middle sample goes down. That's really not that telling. The read counts, and then the knockout of ARCA goes down. All right, so that goes down quite a bit for the middle one. Stays about the same for the third one. And it goes down a little bit for the first sample. Oh, okay, that's not really very much information for Epstein-Barr virus. Each one's different. It doesn't say that these people have Epstein-Barr virus, but fragments per kilomillion of the PDL2, though, nothing shows up there. But when they knock out ARCA, it does show up. And then the transcripts per million, same thing, shows up when they knock it out. Nothing at all until they knock out the ARCA gene. Then it shows up. Overexpressed. All right, so okay. So no immediate standout results for PDL1 as each sample responds differently. Of the 3 samples of CRC or colorectal cancer, and then because when they knock out the ARCA gene, one goes up, one sample down, one very close to the same. But for PDL2, there are no readings in the CRC samples of wild type, but when they knock out ARKA, there are a few samples that show up regulation of PDL2. PDL2 was seen in the diffuse large B-cell lymphoma and classic Hodgkin's lymphoma of elderly patients. All right, and then nothing for LMP. Okay. I'll just put this one. None of the LMP1 or LMP2 genes showed up in this data. Other studies on nasopharyngeal and gastric cancer says those are genes affected by EBV latent virus activation. Okay. Now let's save this. Now we're just going to go ahead and look at what happens to these genes when they knock out ARCA. Now we will get our group means and do the fold change values per group of the baseline, the AURKA knockout divided by baseline for the group type of FUKM, TPM, and read counts. Column names of data 1, just so that we know what we need to reference for the medians, because the baseline for the fragments per kilomillion is going to be columns 2, 3, and 4. So we'll get the mean of those. And then the pathology, the knockout is the columns 5, 6, 7. So when we get that average, that's what that'll be. And that's just very straightforward. Oops. Okay. So let's do that. Here we go. So we're just going to add it to this data. But FPKM baseline mean average. This is going to be the row means of data 1, columns 2 through 4. Okay, and then I guess that's it. Let's see. Seems like that's it. The means one is pretty straightforward. It's when you apply the median that you got to do like a apply and stuff. But we already know these samples are different. Okay, and then data 1 by FPKM AU RKA. We're going to put KO mean. C 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 7. 1 by FPKM. Let's we're just going to go down the line and we'll do the full changes at the end so we keep all the means together. Oh, TPM. Baseline. 7, 8 through 10. (11 through 13). Make sure. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 11, 12, 13. Good. And then the next one, I'm just going to put count. Baseline. This is going to be 14 through 16. Make sure. 14, 15, 16. Yeah. And then 17 through 19. All right, now we're going to do the full changes. Let's run this first and look at our table. Oh, that's not on my computer screen. Let me see. Oh, I put data. I forgot the one. Okay, let's run it again. And then we can see that we have our mean values. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and make the full change values. So now we see the full change values for group with the knockout of ARCA over baseline CRC cells. Data 1 by FPKM FC for full change. Ah, this chair is getting. Oh, my legs are falling asleep. So it's data 1 by ARCA knockout mean divided by data 1 by FPKM baseline mean. And then data 1 by TPM FC. Data 1 by TPM ARCA KO mean divided by data 1 by ppm baseline mean, and then data 1 by counts fc data 1 by count arc-KO mean divided by data 1 by count baseline mean page table data 1. All right, so what we have here, if we scroll to the end, we have our full change counts. Now we're going to get, let's see what our summary stats are for these full change values. And we're going to see if we need to, let's get our summary stats, remove some zeros. Okay, so summary data 1, but only columns on 28, 27, 26, 26 to 28. This will show you the numeric values. Well, that does happen. So we have some NAs in that one, and we have some infinites. Infinites are just really when you take a very small number and divide it into something very large. That usually happens when you have like, let's say you have like a decimal, like 1/100,000 divided by another decimal, 1/100,000, or something even larger. Then it flips on the top, and that goes there, and then somehow it's infinity, I believe, or some. It's been a while, but basically, if you have something that is really small and it goes into something very large, it can be an infinite number, very, very, very large number. So that's what that is. We're gonna have to get rid of the infinites, okay, and then we're gonna order this and see, since the mean is infinite, the median is 1, so it's gonna be around 1 for these. We're getting rid of the NAs also in this first one. There are some zeros, so we're gonna say we want to filter it so that they're larger than 0, and then we'll take our top genes. Okay, I'm just gonna write that out. All right, so so for here, let's go ahead and say data 2 is data 1, but in a dot infinite, wait, not is dot infinite. Okay, f data 1 by fpkm fc. So we're just going to do these for each group like this, and then data 3. All right, let's call this data fpkm, and then data fpkm, we're going to also say data fpkm, but we're going to also say not is dot na for data 1 y, but data fpkm. Oh yeah, I forgot to underscore here. by FPKM. We'll change. And then data FPKM subset data FPKM data FPKM by FPKM FC greater than 0, not equal to 0.0000. Okay. Page table data FPKM. Oh, let's also order it. Data FPKM. All of this lives in this chunk, so it's pretty safe. Okay, so data FPKM order data FPKM by FPKM FC decreasing equals true. And then let's just look at the dimensions of the FPKM. So we removed some rows. So normally there's 16,122. Now we're going to go ahead and so for this next one, we're going to go ahead and take the top ones. Let's take the top up regulated or enhanced genes and compare to, I feel like we should take, do something new and go to KEG and look up colon rectal cancer genes and see what happens in those. But on the same note, they're using this to see chemotherapy working. So, all right. Let's take the top up regulator and compare to let's just get the top gene right here. But we'll keep this one. It's data FPKM. We can always look at it later. It's genes and top down regulated or inhibited genes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and top FPKM. Gene. Okay. Data FPKM. Column of 1 through 10 and 15,000. 5 to 15,014. And then we'll go ahead and look at this. There should be 20, 20 genes. These are our top genes. Let's look at them. Anything sticking out? Useful things? Not really. So we'll go ahead and look. And it is by the FPKM, so we ordered it by FPKM. You shouldn't really see the same here, but I mean, you should actually, because it removed ARCA and there were changes. So they are overexpressed and then underexpressed, our underexpressed genes. right here. Okay. Now we're just going to do the same thing. Let's just save that as, yeah, we already got it. It's the top fragments per kilomillion genes when they knocked out ARCA. Now we will do the same for the TPM and the counts groups. Now we could just copy and paste that actually. And then we are going to replace FPK on TPM. FPKM, no, by TPM. By using this magnifying glass, it's in the selection selected. We're going to put FPKM, replace with TPM all. 15 occurrences, and let's just look. TPM. All right, should work. Let's see. Okay, and this one has some reduced rows too. We're going to copy and paste the last one as well. And we're just going to do the same replacement. Make sure this is selected in selection. And then all, it's only 3 occurrences. That makes sense. So we'll run this code. Great. Now it's going to be ordered by TPM, fold changes. This one. We got our upregulated genes. And then we got our downregulated genes or inhibited genes. Let's see what these genes are. Yep, so those are our genes. This red one came up twice. I think the IGSF10 looks familiar. Okay, so now we're going to copy and paste and do the same for the counts. Control C, copy. Control V, paste. We're going to replace this with counts. Let's make sure that we named it counts though. One. Counts FC. Okay, good. Okay, in the selection, it's going to replace TPM with counts. All right, let's make sure it's selected. Put in the selection, replace all 15 occurrences. That sounds right. Let's run that. Okay, also some genes removed. Same thing here. In the selection, replace all. Good, 3 occurrences. And we'll run that. Okay, great. Oh. So actually that was see, it jumps around on me. FPKM. Okay, so we just did counts after FPKM. But yeah, not a big deal. We'll just put this. Okay. Cut. Our studio. I don't even have that many lines and it's jumping around. Okay, so TPM. Yeah, we have the TPM. That's right. We need this one. We're going to replace counts with TPM. We can just top. Really? Genes. top. TPM, I just manually did it. Data, TPM. All right, let's run the next. Okay, those are genes for TPM. These are genes for count. Counts. Okay. Oh, we need to make the last 10 the number respective to the dimensions. So 15,014 was appropriate for this data, but not for the TPM data, which is 15,030 by 28. So we're going to have to go 15,030. And then this one's going to be 21. Okay, those are the genes. That's 20 of them. And now this one is 15,036 by 28. So it's going to be 15,036, but it's going to be 27 to 36. Okay. 20 is good. So those are our genes. Look, it's ordered by counts for this one. All right. And these are the, so this is 0.06. And this is 15, 19, 21, 25. They do the exponents in it. It kept the infinite in the other ones because we didn't work with those ones, but it removed them in the counts FC. So we're really only using this table for the top genes from that respective group. So we'll go ahead and get the look at the data for those top genes. So we have them right here. We can actually merge. We can actually combine them and get the top genes, or we could just look at the top genes. But also, let's so we should keep the ARCA and then the PDL1 2. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and let's see if it even kept it. All right. So the fold change one is gonna be data 1. Okay. And so we'll look at the ARCA PDL1 and PDL2 fold changes. Data 1 to compare. Okay. Let's make a list. And we're going to say AURKA CD247 and PDCV1 LG2. Isn't that what it was? Oh, I think that's all I put, and that was there. PDCD1LG2. PDCD1LG2. Okay. And then we're going to go, we'll just call this genes 3. Okay, and then we'll just data 1, which data 1 by gene symbol in percent list, and then let's see if it gives us that table. So we can look at the full gene for average in these samples. Okay, well, it didn't find, 274. That's right. Okay. All right, let's save this. It looks like we got an infinite for the PDCD 1LG2. And under expression of the ARCA and the, which is what it should be, because they knocked it out, so it should be underregulated in all of these. Yeah, and then so is the PDL1 or CD2. Oh, ARCA is not low, so is PDL1. PDCD1LG2 is infinite. And let's look at the mean values for that one. The mean's 0. So you got a baseline mean of 0 and you're dividing by 0.02 into 0. Okay, it's a higher number and it's basically 0. Yeah, that goes back to like L'Hospitals. You can't divide by 0. Okay, so that's like a very, very, very small number. So they make it a very, very small number. You divide it by a very, very, very small number, and it's actually a very, very, very large number because it's 1 divided by like 100 billion trillion. And then you take that 100 billion trillion and you put it on the top when you divide by a fraction. And then you have 1 divided by, let's say, 200 times 100 billion trillion. So it's actually half of 100 billion trillion. So a really big number. And yeah, start dividing by 0 because you can make any number very, 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 very small. Very small. But if it's just not there at all, then it's just not there. Okay. And what should we do with this? Okay, so it looks like the okay, let's just make sure we got the right genes. Okay, yeah, so PDL1 or CD274 and ARCA are underregulated or inhibited, as ARCA should be since knocked out, while PDL1 is a gene that is I'm not going to say putative. A no EBV latent activation gene in lymphomas associated with EBV. Okay. But PDL2 is infinite or so small to begin with that after knocking out the AURKA, the fold change was ginormous. Ginormous or gigantic. Okay. Now, okay, let's see if we can look at some genes known. Some genes known to be targets in colorectal cancer patients in gene studies. We will use KEGG. It's the Kyoto something. Okay. KEGG. Kyoto Encyclopedia of Genes and Genomes. We'll just visit it. I'll go ahead and leave a link here. I'll get some water. All right. How long have I been on this? Feels like it hasn't been that long, but yeah, it's only been an hour. Okay, not that much longer. Let's just look at these genes. Okay, so if you go here, you can search for colorectal cancer. KEGG genes. Colorectal cancer. Colorectal mutant cancer protein isoform 2. KEGG disease. Colorectal cancer. KEGG morphology. KEGG genes. Cancer protein. No knockout assign. Colorectal mutant cancer protein. Let's see. Let's just click on some of these. I haven't really done this before, but I've explored it like a few times. All right. So symbol MCC seems to be a gene target. Let's look at a different one. Let's look at that one. Okay. All right, we're just screening it, looking what we can see. Genes, here's some genes. Look at that. We have, let's click on these so that we know. It looks like these are the genes right here. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of that. Here's MCC, but okay, we're going to use these genes then. I'm pretty sure it's this one. There's a knockout for it. They have the knockouts for it too. That's interesting. Let's explore that. All right, so MLH1, the knockout, they have the knockout DNA mismatch repair protein, M1H1 isoform 1. So if they want to knock out MLH1, they already have something for it. Knockout 8734. Platinum drug resistant mismatch repair, Fanconi anemia pathways in cancer, colorectal cancer, endometrial cancer, gastric cancer. All right, so that's interesting. We're going to go ahead and take these jeans. We're just going to take a picture of it. We're not going to use all these jeans. Oh, wait. Actually, we should try to use as many as we can. All right, here they are. Hold on. Let's use as many as we can. All right. You know, I wanted to get this web link in here. All right, cool. Markup and share. We're going to go ahead and save this. We're going to go to the colorectal cancer where our file is. We don't have an images folder, so we're going to have to make a new folder called images. We'll go into that folder and we are going to name it keg underscore CRC underscore jeans. And it will be saved as a PNG. Okay, so now we're going to close out of that. You feel free to explore that more if you want. All right, now we're going to put this image here. Keg CRC jeans. Images. KEGG underscore CRC underscore jeans.png. Let me see if that's what I saved it as. Yep, I did. All right, so we can't really see it. That's too bad because it's really small. Wow, it's really small. So we'll just have to do a split screen. I'm going to go ahead and move that. And then we just want some of these jeans so we can make a list and see what happens when they knock out. We'll go ahead and save this and close this file. We're going to go to the images. And we're going to open this. We can close this folder. And we can enlarge it. Well, look at these jeans. Just writing what I just said earlier. All right, so we're just gonna make a list. From the image. We're just gonna call this keg, all caps. This is a colorectal study, so analysis again. It's a character vector MLH1. That's also my older sister's initials. No coincidence. I'm just typing all these jeans out that I can see. This is actually called a GSVA, gene study, variation analysis, I think it is. It's also called a GVA, gene variability analysis, where you look at the genes. I've seen this on a YouTube video. Always learning. Months ago. Never use it, but it comes up. I never actually use the keg, but since this is a small project, we can do this. We'll just go ahead and look. Doesn't hurt to look. So I was at gallon 12. That's an AD7. That's an AD4. Oh, make sure it's in quotations. That's an AD2. BAX. AXIN2. ERAF. CCND1. Oh, that one comes up a lot. I've seen that in many cancers. CHEK2. CTNNB1. FLCN. PIK3CA. TP53. That's a common one. All right, and then let's scroll up some more. BUB1. UB1B. AURKA, look at that. Got it. DLC1. MCC. PTPN12. AKT1. EP300. FGFR3. PDGFRL. PTPRJ. RAD54B. SRC. EGF. TGFA. EREG. AREG. And that's it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and run the keg list. We're going to close this out. We're still going almost an hour and a half. We'll just see if it's in this data. So we're going to open this up again to our regular screen sizes for the windows. We have our 41 genes for keg. Now let's see if any of these genes are in the data one for full change values. Docking out archive. We already know what URK is, and it's in the list. I'm going to put that this is called GVA or GSVA for gene variation analysis or gene study variability association or analysis, something similar to that. Similar to those names. When comparing your data to known or putative genes related to that pathology. Control F2. All right, so we'll call this KEG data frame for DF for data frame. Data 1, which data 1 by gene symbol %N KEGG. Then we'll see if there's anything there. There are some genes here, 41 of them, and our list is 41. So it looks like all genes are there. It all looks like all genes are in this data because the character vector is 41 characters long, and this data is 41 rows long. Okay, so let's compare with the fold changes. And then we can see what happens comparatively when ARCA is knocked out. I mean, if we order just one of them, they should all be the same because they're pretty much doing the same thing. Just one's fragments per kilomillion, one's transcripts per million, and one's counts of those genes. So, I mean, if you look across the fold change rows, they seem to all be either under 1 or over 1. Okay, so we'll go ahead and order it by counts. Let's order data by counts. KEG DF ordered. Okay, let's make it all caps too, just so it stays the same. On KEG, the name KEG. KEG DF. Okay, order KEG DF by counts. Let's see, decreasing equals true. And then let's see, KEG up is KEG DF ordered KEG DF ordered greater than or equal to 1. And then KEG down, KEGG DF ordered KEGG DF ordered less than 1. All right, let's see it. Let's look at the upregulated genes. Oh, what? There's a lot of rows in here. That's not cool. Did I do this differently? Because KEG DF has KEG DF ordered. Oh, okay. I know why. Ordered by counts FC. Greater than or equal to 1. And then this one. All right, good. Let's just run it again. That's better. 21 rules in the upregulated. So these are our upregulated genes. And the above are the upregulated genes of KEG when we look at full change values of the knockout of ARCA in CRC, colorectal cancer cells. So these genes are stimulated when the ARCA is down regulated or inhibited or knocked out. Okay. Now let's look at the keg down. There's 20. These are the genes that are down-regulated, inhibited when ARCA is knocked down or something. Down-regulated when it's knocked down out in CRC cells. Okay. So that's interesting. That's what our KEG genes are. We can look up each one of these and see what that means. That could verify, depending on what these genes are, based on what they do, because it's a whole system, a whole network. You upregulate some genes with the pathology. That could mean it's genes that are taking over and damaging the tumor resistance and immunity, while downregulating some could mean that you're also getting rid of other genes that are acting to protect the body and the immune system. Like angiogenesis is secretion of arterioles to supply tumors with blood so they can grow, and nutrient supply. That would be a bad thing in cancer. So genes that make arterioles could be bad, upregulated. Now when you knock it out, if it's in cancer, that could be good if it's something that is retarding the tumor suppressors. So knocking out tumor suppressors is not a good thing, but stimulating tumor suppressors is a good thing, because then it's going to suppress tumors. That's what it's designed to do. It will be diligent in not allowing mutated cells to replicate. All right. So we will look at that another time. Maybe the next time we will merge this with our other data, or just copy and paste each one of these 41 genes to see what they do. These are known genes in colorectal cancer. But, I mean, if you wanted to have a plot or a graph, I don't really do graphs because I stopped. We can just look something up to plot there if you want to see a plot. Like it would be 2-dimensional. You can whatever feature you want to list. If you want to look at the full changes as a bar chart, you do that. Yeah, but all right, that's it for tonight. That's it for this part. 2 in the next part, in part 3 of this project, we will evaluate what this means by looking up what each gene does in gene cards.org. We don't really have information on EBV with this data. Only PDL1 showed up, or PDL2. Oh, PDL1 and PDL2 showed up in this data, and well, those are EBV associated genes with lymphomas. Not the gastrointestinal tract. All right, cool. So we'll do this next time. I'll go ahead and knit and republish it to the same document so that you can follow along with this video, or add to it, or take away from it, or do whatever you want. Once you download it, it's yours. You can use it as ideas or do your own thing, or learn also. Whatever you want to do. And we will just look it up. Okay. We're not going to share this data because you can just download the stuff and follow this. Okay. If you want the data frames, I'll put it up next time on Google. But, Google does have a limit to how much data I share on them. Okay. Update existing. So far, they haven't really stopped me uploading, but they don't let me upload very large files. I have to go to Kaggle. Kaggle allows me to upload large files. Maybe one day we will do a Kaggle project. I've only been doing this, though, for months. I have other work, though. I catch on pretty fast, so we could do Kaggle. We just haven't used the cloud or Python in a while. But it's easy to pick up once I see it again. Very similar. Python uses the 0 index, though, instead of 1. And then the way that you reference columns and rows is a little different. You have to use like -1 on it. Not too different. And they have a lot of people like it because of their graphing capabilities and the ability to, like, if you do PCA, you can actually call what feature it is that gave you that prediction. What is the strongest feature? Although in R, if you do random forest, you can call the importance of the feature too. All right, well, that's it. Thanks so much. You guys have a great night. I'm going to end the stream.